Hi, this is no ordinary voice of spiritual ventriloquism. You are listening to the dummy himself. Well, for about the past 2 years or so, those who are intimately involved with me on a social basis, not too intimate, of course, um, know that I've been speaking of, from at least from the scientific area, that the whole premise of global warming is now a non-issue and it's over. In fact, uh, my recommendations have been for people to follow a man on YouTube and Patreon. His name is David Dubune or Dubine, an excellent man who puts together a lot of valuable information concerning the days which are ahead. And his channel is called Adapt 2030. Um, for many years now, Pastor Dow has been telling people to get out of the cities and to find a place where you can attempt to sustain yourselves. That you should engage in some type of storage program for times that are ahead. We are, and in reference to this global warming, we are now basically completely out of global warming, and we are rapidly descending and declining into a global cooling cycle, or what's called a solar minimum, potentially a grand solar minimum may be occurring in the next over the next couple of years. The scientific data already has about a 40% increase in cosmic rays, a weakening magnetosphere, more cloud cover, more rain, more torrential rain, more violent weather patterns, lightning storms recently that are epic in proportion. We're not talking, hundreds of strikes of lightning in an hour in a storm, but like in Australia last week, they experienced lightning storms where there were tens of thousands of lightning strikes per hour. And believe me, you do not want to be outside in a lightning storm such as that. But anyway, regardless of that, weather is becoming more violent with the recent hurricanes that we had in Houston and across the Caribbean. Is a demonstration that in an almost complete absence of hurricanes over almost a 10-year period. I think '04 was the last major hurricane we had. Um, and then a complete absence for pretty much a decade during this peak global warming cycle up to about 2015. Then things started to head back the other way, and now we're experiencing the violent weather. What I want to talk about today is a report that David Dubune and Adapt 2030 did share last week, and that is out of Madagascar. There are confirmed already over 1,300 cases of pneumonic plague. Now, pneumonic plague is the human-to-human version of the bubonic plague. The bubonic plague is bad enough, and it ravaged Europe for probably close to 300 years. And I might add that this type of disease will flourish in a cool, moist, septic environment. So now Madagascar, who experiences its cool, moist, rainy seasons, and normally has, maybe 100 cases or so of bubonic plague or possibly even pneumonic plague in any given year. The United States has, usually 3 or 4 or 5 cases of bubonic plague out in the Southwest, usually among campers, people that are come in contact with chipmunks and squirrels and whatnot. they may get that. You get treated with antibiotics, got about a 60% survival rate. It's not the end of the world if you get intervention enough. However, pneumonic plague, you only have like about a 20% chance of survival, and that's even with the treatment of these broad spectrum antibiotics and stuff that they use to treat this disease. The issue of this is that why are these and even in the bubonic plague that occurred in the Southwest over the last couple of years, there was like almost a doubling or a tripling of the number of cases. No big deal. We're still only talking 15 people. But in the case of Madagascar, where they are now in the throes of a virulent disease that if it should jump and hop off of that island into the the airports of the world, we could be looking at a seriously devastating plague. So it's very important. I'm sure the World Health Organization is keeping an eye on this. But what I want to discuss is that why these situations are like they are. And we know that in a grand solar minimum or a solar minimum cycle, there is a decrease in the amount of ultraviolet rays that are penetrating into the atmosphere. Ultraviolet rays is what purifies water. Ozonators or ultraviolet ozonators on hot tubs, keeps your hot tubs clean. It is a means of killing pathogens, both plant, animal, and human. Okay, and what happens is in a solar minimum cycle, there are not as many rays, so therefore you have the increased cloud cover, cosmic radiation entering the atmosphere. You're creating a septic environment in which these types of diseases can flourish. And what I really would like to talk about on the next video, and I'm just going to leave it at that, is I want to talk about how a solar minimum cycle fits in. And honestly, I really don't mean to drag prophecy and the Bible into this equation, but honestly, some things just need to be said because without saying it, we're not really getting an accurate glimpse at what prophecy has to say. And so in this next video, I'm going to talk about a grand solar minimum and Bible prophecies. And I think that is something that everyone needs to take a look at. Everyone needs to, sort through this information. And because we are talking a serious magnitude of problems that are going to arise in this world as a result of a decreasing amount of solar activity. I cannot really even begin to estimate the collateral damage that is going to be occurring as a result of natural cycles in the sun. And just so happens to be these natural cycles are all on a cosmic watch. It's amazing. Even the rate at which men can wax worse and worse and grow more and more wicked is even regulated and controlled and only allowed to manifest itself according to a divine plan and time frame that has already been set up. So we're really not that special. We really don't have as much control as we think, and even the worst of us are operating to a within the parameters of a divine plan. So anyway, I want to talk about that in the next video. Decreased solar activity or a grand solar minimum and we'll just say the book of Revelation, or the end times, or the apocalypse, things like that. So y'all stay tuned. When this thing comes out, it's going to be an eye-opening experience for all of you. And anyway, have a good day. Shalom.